Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, Mysterious Voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I've found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some interesting poetry from an LGBTQA writer, one who is quite notable, and of course this is this period of Pride where I talk about LGBT poems or writers between the end of June, the end of May and the end of July. So we still got a couple more weeks to go. And today's poem is all about the forest and the fauns. I am referring to In the Forest by Oscar Wilde. For those who don't know, Oscar Wilde is an Irish writer, or was an Irish writer, who lived in the 1800s. He wrote a number of plays and books, including The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I should finally read one of these days. It is very notable. And it's one of the books that have been banned, and I'm always about those banned books. He also wrote quite a bit of poetry. He was a bit flamboyant and eccentric, based on his writings and whatnot, we've come to learn that he was gay. Unfortunately, he was put on trial for it in the UK and found to be guilty and spent some time in prison, which is unfortunate. Not only is that homophobic, and just discriminatory, but also Oscar Wilde was Irish, and the British had a troubled history of oppressing Irish people. Maybe that's why they were more than willing to do that to Oscar Wilde, but who is to say? And he ended up dying shortly after being released from prison. Pretty fascinating writer. Would love to explore more of his work. And today I'm talking about one of his poems. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about In the Forest. I'll read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. In the Forest. Out of the mid-woods twilight into the meadow's dawn, ivory-limbed and brown-eyed, flashes my faun. He skips through the copses singing, and his shadow dances along, and I know not which I should follow, shadow or song. O hunter, snare me his shadow, O nightingale, catch me his strain, else moonstruck with music and madness, I track him in vain. In terms of analysis, that was In the Forest, pretty short poem, but I do feel like there's a little bit worth talking about here. In terms of narrative, the narrator spots a faun of some sort, a mythical creature from Greek lore, and then he hears the faun singing, becomes very attracted to it, but doesn't know if he should follow the shadow or the song, because maybe those two things will lead to different places. And then he prays to the hunter and the nightingale to help him track this nightingale. So it seems to be, attraction is the theme of the poem. Desire is the theme of the poem. Being ensnared like one is ensnared by a siren, except here it's a faun. There is a sort of sexual nature to the poem, because in Greek stories, the creatures of the forest would always be a little bit horny, a little bit randy. We're using British slang. Always either tricking people into having sex with them, or just people frolicking together in any sort of harmony and an orgy of some sorts. So there is that element there. Now, another thing worth noting is that Oscar Wilde, the narrator, does use the masculine pronoun here. He says, he skips through the copses singing, and his shadow dances along, and I know not which I should follow, shadow or song. So there is if this is sexual and there's a sense of attraction, it's Oscar Wilde writing about another another masculine type person in this poem. Maybe it's not the same if you're attracted to a faun of some sort, but I would argue that he's not exactly being subtle here, because a lot of male writers might write about women, like she skips through the copses singing and she shadow dances along. I think I could probably find that, or that similar idea with a lot of writers of the time. So Oscar Wilde is barely hiding it. I think this is like very kind of overt, maybe covert in some ways, but like it's attraction to a male faun, sort of like the inner sort of homosexuality that Oscar Wilde is like the central part of his identity that he was writing quite a bit about. This poem doesn't really seem overtly political, but I do think it's a strong political statement to use pronouns in certain ways, because every word of every poem counts, especially the pronouns. People might say, oh, he's just saying one thing and he doesn't really mean anything by it. Then why take the effort to write it down? Is my opinion there. And then the last thing worth noting about the poem is the rhyme scheme. This has a A-B-C-B type of rhyme scheme. He rhymes dawn with fawn, along with song, and strain with vein. Sort of a fairy tale-esque style, writing style that makes the poem flow in that sort of style. It's pretty simple, not really much to write home about, but it is there, and it's worth noting in that capacity as well. Anyway, those are my thoughts on In the Forest by Oscar Wilde. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it because I know the poet is gay, and so I'm affixing a sort of gay analysis onto it. But, if it's there, it's there. If Oscar Wilde had intended something different, he would have used no pronouns, or he would have used they pronouns, or he would have used she pronouns. Like, it matters. Like, the way that he wrote it matters, and we should consider that when analyzing it. And, he's dead, so death of author, or something like that. If you think differently, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you as well. Maybe tell me what you think of my review of this poem. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poet. I have a feeling a lot of people know about Oscar Wilde, especially in Western civilization, or this poem if you haven't read it yet or haven't heard of it and you want to share it. Also, Poetry Thursday. Get the word out about that so other people can talk about poetry. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and fawn travels. In your weird and fawn following travels. That was a weird phrase. Farewell.